Welcome to Intelligent Human Leadership, leading yourself and your team. Do you ever find yourself grappling with a lack of confidence in your team? Or battling the relentless waves of concern and fear? Are the pressures to meet client expectations and the burden of missed opportunities weighing you down? On this podcast, you'll discover the strategies and insights that will reignite your team's morale and help you find the harmony and knowledge you seek to propel your business forward. Here, we explore innovative ways to reignite your creative spirit and achieve greatness, empowering you to lead with intelligence, compassion, and resilience. If you're ready to dive deep into your core of leadership challenges and be guided toward success, here's your host, founder of Steward Your Business, David Carr.
All right, here we go, guys. Back for another episode of the Intelligent Human Leadership Podcast. I hope you enjoyed the last episode I talked about where we want to make sure our communication is on point. I use the context of the Wildlife Society article for those of you who missed the last episode. But a lot of the work that we try to do in our lives, in the case of the last episode, I was talking about wildlife conservation, but it could be a lot of different areas in our businesses and our lives, are affected by their ability to build trust, collaboration, communicate, understand human beings, quite honestly, better than we currently do. And I was talking with my mentor, Jeremy Kubicek, this week, with some other guides in our giant mastermind group. And the tool that I've talked about in the past, maybe not by name, but I'm going to bring it up to you today, is called the relational impact tool. And it's about how do we build trust and influence. And I'm going to share that with you in today's podcast to help better equip you to build meaningful relationships and making sure that we put others first, building trust and influence before opportunities. I've talked about that in a previous episode, but I'm going to actually show you the tool for those of you that are listening to the podcast. I also put this out on YouTube and appreciate you guys following along at Steward Your Business. Just look up Steward Your Business and you'll find me on YouTube. I also do rebroadcasts on LinkedIn as well. So you guys can check me out there, see what you're also hearing. But I will show the tool here. I'll describe it to you today about this relational impact tool. It's a resource. It's a way of visualizing and seeing things. Maybe you haven't thought about it this way before. But being a leader means that number one, number of things, but communication is certainly one of those things. We've talked about that, the flywheel, if you will, of leadership and how these things are all connected together. And so this really is truly a game changer in building trust and influence. Because I don't know about you, but I get a lot of pitches for opportunities and they don't really know me. They haven't built influence. They haven't built trust with me. And it really is very difficult for me to engage somebody that's just all about opportunity and not looking at that, not building the relationship. And so this happens to me in LinkedIn. It happens to me on my emails. I just have people pitching me all the time. And they haven't taken the time to get to know me, haven't taken any questions, haven't explored who I am, what am I about, what's my company about. And so that's a big turnoff. And so the core principle that I want to introduce you to today here is, remember this: relationship before opportunity. This is one of the reasons I got connected with Giant and certified with 5 voices for teams and so forth, is because I saw how they developed a relationship with me. And through that, I felt comfortable enough to step forward and engage with them. This is truly, really important over immediate gains. You're going to feel the pressure, like, I got to get this happen. I got to be transactional. And when we shift from being for ourselves to being for them, it's a totally different dynamic. When we're looking for their highest good, what can we do to support them? What's the value we can bring? What is the way we can help? Whether they accept it, whether they're ready for it, that's a different story. But I want to encourage you to think about this. It changes the dynamics when we look at that. When it's all about us, it's going to be, transactional. We're looking to get our needs met. We're taking. We're not from a place of abundance and giving, knowing that it'll return back to us. And this has happened to me time and time again when I shift that dynamic. When I come, for example, for those of you that know, maybe heard me in the early episodes, I've been married for almost 20 years. When I'm coming from a place of taking from my wife, it is definitely not an attractive place. It's not a place of her leaning in. But when I'm starting to look at ways I can bless her, ways I can take care of her, ways I can provide for her, just as I do teammates, when I look at what their needs are, what are they looking at, what would help them do better at their job today, and I take the time, and I'm being conscious of this, and I look after them, the relationship is strengthened, and oftentimes they're more engaged, they're more alert, aware, and just energetically more present, honestly. And so here's an idea you can look into is practice being interested, not interesting. I'll say that again. I want to practice, all of us here, because what I'm helping you and the Intelligent Human Leadership podcast is not just to take in more information. There's lots of information out there, but it's actually to transform. It is to take this and apply it in your life to that way you have a lasting influence, impact, legacy, if you will, on those around you, your coworkers, your community, your family. So be interested and not so much interesting. Discuss and listen by asking questions. Asking questions is so powerful, so powerful. I'm going to be doing a follow-up episode here on some of the questions that I use, and I'll highlight a few of them here that I've developed and I've been questioned in my Wake Up Warrior training, among others. But when we ask questions, when we're curious, that opens up a dialogue. Now we can start to understand, where is this person at? It could be simple questions such as, how is your family? What challenges maybe you've been facing at work right now? Maybe what's your biggest win lately? So we're not putting people on a defensive necessarily, and you need to determine the person and the familiarity you have with this person on where you can go with certain questions. But certainly you can start at a very high level of just gaining understanding. And it's important. When you ask a question, be sincere, listen, really pay attention to hear what they're saying to you. Don't listen just to respond. That's a pitfall. So I want to encourage you, if you're going to ask the question, be sincere when you're asking the question, and be ready for a sincere answer, which might not be okay or short. In fact, you don't want to have just short snippets. You want to have a deeper answer. Where's this person going? Where are they really at? Are they able to tap into these things? And if they are, and they can share them with you, that shows a level of trust that you already have with the person. But if they're very closed off and they're giving you very short answers, they don't trust you. You don't have very much influence over them in their life. And so they're going to keep you at arm's reach. And so I'm actually going to show in the video that you guys are watching this of as I'm describing this to you, an image that you can see, the relational impact tool. So we have for self on one end and for them on the other. And for those of you that are watching the video or listening, you'll see for self is red, for them is green. We want to move from the red, all about us, to the green. Let's go. And the way we can do that is discovering what's going on with them. What is their reality today? What are they facing? Good, bad, and difference. It takes time. It takes time because it doesn't happen immediately. You need to be able to create a space, a container, if you will, where they feel safe to start opening up, discovering their reality, their pains. Again, like I mentioned earlier, active listening, uncover their felt need. What is their felt need? What is it they're experiencing? Not what you think they are, what they you think they need or whatnot. You have ideas. Of course, you're smart, you're intelligent, you're listening to this podcast. However, I want you to encourage you here to listen for this understanding. What is their needs? Because what happens is when we look at this diagram here, on for them, as they can share their felt need, their pain, this is where we can start to communicate that we're for them, right? This is where we can share understanding, and then we can start to offer meaningful solutions. But we can't start offering solutions. We can't offer any opportunity, if you will, if we don't even know what they're dealing with. If our solution doesn't match up with their pain or challenge, it's irrelevant to them. You know, it's like saying, I've got this amazing drink for you, and you just need to have this drink, and you're like, I just had a big drink and I'm full and I don't need this right now, and you're just pushing this on me. But I'm really hungry. And you're like, oh, what? But you're pushing the drink because you didn't even listen. You didn't even ask the question. What are you? What's your hunger? What is your pain? What is that right now that in your life that you need possible help with? And maybe I can help you, or maybe I can provide resources to support them. The thing is, we want to make sure that we communicate. We are for them. We are moving from us to them. And we need to fight for their highest good. This is critical. As soon as you start to slip back into me and you start to slip away from their highest good, you're going to be taking. And that's a scarcity way of being. People feel that. Whether you say it or not, they feel the energy of you pulling from them. I need this from them. I need to take it from them. Versus you could walk away. You have all that you need, and you're coming to give. You're coming to listen, and that you want to be for them. You're, again, fighting for their highest good. This takes time. It takes presence to really discover the reality and pain. If you think you're going to be able to do this, generally speaking, in just a couple minutes, or try to get them on the phone or something like that, it's not going to work, generally speaking. You need to start to create a container and environment for them to trust you, to know that you're for them. And oftentimes we self-sabotage here based on our voices. For those of you that have done the 5 voices assessment, if you haven't, go to my website, stewardyourbusiness.com/5 voices, and I'll get you up on there, or just message me. But your voice is different in the way that you look at relationships here. And so there's actually boot camps and trainings that I offer outside of this podcast that go deeper on that, and I'm happy to discuss that with you further. But here on today's episode, just realize that even your voice order is going to influence how you discover their reality and pain, how you're asking these things, because you're oriented in different ways. And when we are mindful of this, we can then start to shift again from us, for self, for them. Now, when we do that, it's going to be asking, again, genuine questions. And I mentioned some of them. I'm going to actually go deeper on this in the next episode, where I will go through what I call kind of the big 13 questions, some things that I've developed and learned through my own training, working with Warrior and others as a Warrior certified trainer. But the thing is, we want to get to finding the question, if you will. So think about tools, if you will. So some tools work better than others for what needs to be done. And so some questions work better than others, depending on where we're trying to go. The reality is, we're trying to uncover the pain. We're trying to uncover what's going on with them, while making them at the same time know that we're for them. We're not trying to expose them to just zing them, or just trying to get them. If, again, as soon as it moves from about us, then we're not coming from a healthy space. And here on the Intelligent Human Leadership Podcast, we always want to help you be the most healthiest leader in the room. As we move in this direction, we start to realize the impact of putting relationships first. It's a ripple effect. And you don't recognize this soon. It's a ripple effect in the opposite way too. We want to make it a positive ripple, not a negative ripple. Not to where somebody sees you coming in the room and they go hide. I'm busy. They see your email, they see your phone number, and they don't answer. They don't respond. Or it's very short because you've been very transactional, because you've been seeking opportunity over the relationship. Here we're flipping it around and we're being relationally focused by building that trust and rapport. As a connector voice, you may have heard me talk about that before. As a connector voice, this is big for me. I'm very collaboratively. At that voice, I'm always looking for trust and rapport, and that means a lot to me just naturally. I don't think it means something to everybody. We all want to be trusted. We all want to feel like we have a rapport with others. But become memorable and significant in somebody's life. That is remarkable, because why are you memorable or significant? Is it because you talked about all yourself and how great you are and all the things that you could do and the things you've accomplished and, oh, I know this thing or that thing, or I've got this resource? No, it's about them. But you're going to become memorable and significant in another person's life when you start to look at their need, their pain, their challenges, and really take that in and understand where they're at. I get it. I've been there. On this podcast, I've talked a lot of different challenges that I've faced in my career, in my marriage, challenges over and over again, because I want to share with you, number one, that you're not alone. Number two, that you have a place where you can come and be empowered and supported. That's why I bring this podcast to you week after week, because I'm so passionate about helping others. And that's how I want to become memorable and significant, is because I come from a place of giving. I come from a place of looking after their highest good. Then, as we're looking at here, we can start to have that significant impact. And then there's a relevant solution. We're building that relationship, that 1 and 2 here on the screen. Eventually, we can get to a solution that's relevant. But if we're not looking for the felt need and pain, and we're not looking for the challenges that they're facing right now, the help that they need right now, then the solutions and the opportunities that we have we're not going to get there. And so, coming back here, you guys can watch and look at that tool. And this, among other tools, are part of the Giant OS that I provide too, which is just a fantastic resource where you guys can get plugged in there. Happy to share that with you as well. But when we discuss and learn, ask questions, then we can start to craft solutions that directly address their pain points. Now we can say, okay, I get it. Okay, let me see. I hear what your challenges are. I hear where you're going from. Let me see if my solution is going to work for you. I've gotten calls where people are saying, hey, and I've got a solution for you. I've got a resource for you. And then I start explaining to them what I'm doing. And they're like, yeah, what I have probably isn't that great for you. Because sometimes I even preface it, because now I've learned this a little bit. I'll talk. And I want to actually flip it around and say, look, I want to help you too. Even though you're coming and pitching me, you're sharing something. It's like, let's get to the bottom line as to, let's be upfront and saying, here is the challenges. I want to know what's going on. So if your goal is to, just sell something, and you're not understanding how to craft that, then you're going to probably offer the wrong thing. This happens at work where we can craft solutions that directly address their pain points, but also could be at home. How do we strengthen and influence our loved ones, our connections with our loved ones? As we look at this way of becoming memorable and significant because we care, we look after their highest good, and that is our motivation, that is super powerful. That helps you become that intelligent leader. So I want to make sure you avoid these pitfalls of looking at these opportunities. I've mentioned this several times here on the podcast, but missing the mark and understanding their needs, coming off self-serving or shallow, reflect on this. Look at this. Where have you been? Because you're not going to be memorable when you do those things. We want you to be memorable. We want you to have a lasting impact. So as we come to the end of the podcast here in the last few minutes, I want to encourage you here in a couple things. Look and start with those intentional questions. Start number one, just start with this. Start with the intentional questions and active listening. Number two, identify their felt needs, their pain point. Become a master at this. Make sure you reflect back what they say. So this is what I'm hearing you say. This is the challenge that you're facing. This is the frustration that I hear. You're not getting the desired outcome or the result. Is that what I understand? And, use tools or solutions to address those needs effectively. Don't just, start going into a tool without understanding by asking intentional questions, identifying their pains points, and let the relationship create a natural pathway for influence and opportunity. This person may not be your ideal client. This person may not be the person you're going to help today, is directly with a solution, possibly, but they may be a person of influence, or I call a personal piece that may introduce you to somebody else in your world because you had such a lasting impact, a positive moment with them. They're like, man, I can't really I'm not sure this is a good fit for us, but you know what? The way you asked me questions, the way you understood where I was at, really helped me feel seen, understood, and that's super meaningful. Today's world, we lack a lot of that. And so make sure we look at this daily, guys. Set a goal to ask intentional questions during interactions. Be honest and be curious in that. Look at your current relationships. Are you prioritizing the person or just kind of the opportunity to the things you're just trying to get through? And take a moment, perhaps journal where you put others first that led to positive outcomes. For those of you who use the Warrior app, the Stack is a great tool for this. But taking time to process this is super powerful because it starts to create inroads in your brain that actually help you think better, quite honestly, think clearer, think more intentionally. So here's your challenge as we're wrapping up the episode today. Look at one relationship. How can you focus your and orient yourself that you're being for them? You're looking for their highest good. Ask yourself, have I been doing that? And if I haven't, here's an opportunity for you. You can use this relational impact tool that I showed you here on the screen, or message me. I'm happy to share it with you. And of course, share your thoughts, share your feedback here. I always love to hear from you guys. Your comments, your reviews of the podcast are meaningful. When you subscribe, it really helps me get the message out further. And it attracts other folks to come on and share with me. I have a separate podcast. You're also welcome to listen and follow along, the Business Roundtable podcast. That's where I have guests come on and we do more of a Q&A there and interaction. And so I want to just encourage you to continue to look at ways we can make the relationships first. And this tool is one of them, the relational impact model that I shared with you today. And look forward to this upcoming episode. I'm going to dig deeper on some of these questions. I gave you some today, but I'm going to give you a deeper dive into these in the next episode. So come back, listen to that episode. I release every week, and glad to be able to share this with you guys. I encourage you so much as we're going into the end of the year. If you're listening to this podcast in the middle of December, now is the time. Don't wait. Shift your way of thinking. Develop a way that you can lead yourself, that you can lead others and influence others, having a lasting impact and legacy. Appreciate you guys being here again on the Intelligent Human Leadership Podcast. Until next time, take good care. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.